Because, like I said, everybody's quick to jump on their gun and say, "Oh, they should get rid of Chris Ballard." When just last year we were saying he was one of the best GMs in the league.
Will they keep Jeff Saturday as head coach next year if they don't have a winning record since he stepped in?
I'm going to say I don't know if they're going to keep him. I'm going to say no, but I think he deserves consideration to be kept. Like he said, one thing that I actually like is energy. He said one thing in a press conference that I actually love what he said. He said, "I haven't coached an NFL game, but I am a leader of men." And he leading those guys out there. They're playing hard for him.
Yep.
They're flying all over the field for him. Even though they did lose a close game against the Philadelphia Eagles, you can tell the energy is great out there. The energy is great in the locker room. I think he should get consideration to be the head coach. Not saying he should be, but he should be in consideration and allowed to be having a meeting with whoever the owner to be the head coach of this team. Not saying he should be, but he should get some consideration for right now how the team is playing and how they can continue playing going forward.
Awesome. All right, Dante, to you, sir. Will the Colts keep Jeff Saturday as their head coach if he doesn't produce a winning record since he took over?
It's a good question, man. So I like Jeff Saturday and I like what he's doing. Especially, I think if they play hard, even if they lose, just like they did with the Eagles, say what you want about that game, Eagles fans, I'm sorry. Jeff Saturday coached his butt off that game. He was the better coach in that game with play calling. If it came down to, and everybody did their analysis, but they always wanted to overlook this point. If Matt Ryan was if Matt Ryan 2 years ago was playing for the Colts, they would have won that game.
Right.
It was a couple of passes that I saw that he threw towards the ground. Man, I don't know if he has the arm strength anymore or it was just miscommunication, whatever it might be, that were like critical third down conversions that should have been easy for him, routine for him in any facet. For at the beginning of his career, like he could have made those, but that's not a Jeff Saturday problem at that point in time. That's a Matt Ryan problem getting the ball to his guys. Great play calling, had him off balance, and just to note one thing, like he's doing this without Shaquille Leonard right now, probably one of the best linebackers in the league, and he had those guys looking really good. So I mean, that is true. You really had to consider being a leader of men, one of the things that, gets you by in this league. I always like to say you're trying to manage 52 small businesses right now.
That's right.
And he, if anybody understands that, he understands that of being a player. He understands that of being, on say what you want. The Colts, even though they didn't win several Super Bowls, you were scared to have them on your schedule when they were playing you. He understands what it's like to have, a great Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback that I, was lucky to see get inducted last year. But Jeff Saturday's he was no joke as a player too. One of the best centers that, I personally had seen growing up.
Yep.
So, with that being said, man, I hope they give him the job as long as he has his team continue to play hard. The only caveat with the team is they're battling through injuries. They're weak in some spots, so you have to consider that, even if they have a losing record. But you keep Chris Ballard there, you give him one more year. Because like I said, everybody's quick to jump on their gun and say, "Oh, they should get rid of Chris Ballard." When just last year we were saying he was one of the best GMs in the league. So you can't have both at this point in time. So, I don't know, man. I think he should stay. I like Jeff Saturday. I'm totally on the Jeff Saturday train. And I owe him an apology.
All right, Sora, coming your way. Colts are below 500, 4-6-1. Jeff Saturday steps in as the interim and then the head coach. If he doesn't produce a winning record since he started, are the Colts going to keep him for next year?
Colts some way somehow are still in the playoff hunt, despite being 4-6-1. The way Dante worded it was pretty much exactly kind of what I was going to say. He outcoached Josh McDaniels. He outcoached Nick Sirianni. Colts probably should have won that game. If he outcoaches Mike Tomlin tonight, I think you're going to get some serious buzz about that. Looking at the remaining schedule, they got the Steelers tonight. They got the Cowboys. They got the Vikings. They got the Chargers, the Giants, and then they end off with the Texans. There's potentially a couple of wins in there. Granted, they are led by a top 5 defense, even without Leonard being in there. I mean, people don't want to admit the O-line has looked the best they have all year. And
That's true.
You have to look at how he's been coaching, not the record. Because if all of these games are close, and you look at it like, well, if we had exactly said exactly twice there, but pretty much what Dante said. There were some throws that Matt Ryan a couple of years ago could have made, but not now, as Matt Ryan is kind of a old quarterback who needs to probably consider retirement and hanging up the cleats. You look at it and go, well, if we had a young quarterback coming up in this year's draft, we would have won those games. So you got to look at how he coaches, not the records. But again, if he's able to outcoach, Mike Tomlin, Mike McCarthy, O'Connell for the Vikings. Took me a minute to realize or remember who the Vikings coach was. But if he can outcoach like the likes of those guys, 2 of them with winning records and even win those games, yeah, I think you got to consider him being the head coach in 2023.
Facts. Let him know.
Okay.